Barbadians taking no chances with Tropical Storm Isaac. No major fallout so far from higher accommodation costs. And coming up in sports, the Amazon Warriors into their 4th CPL final.
Credible, balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
Hi, good evening. I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. Barbadians have been monitoring closely the approach of Tropical Storm Isaac, which is expected to pass close to the island later tonight into tomorrow. The Met Office has not issued any watches or warnings for the island, but it says some pockets of rain and winds can be expected. Salma Green joins us live now with more details on Tropical Storm Isaac. Good evening, Salma.
Good evening, Shane. And yes, no watches or warnings have been posted for Barbados, and that's because Isaac poses more of a threat to Guadeloupe, Dominica and Martinique, where tropical storm warnings are in effect. But tonight, the center of that system is at 15.4 degrees north, 56.6 degrees west. That's about 295 miles to the east of Martinique, 250 miles to the east-northeast of Barbados. Isaac is moving directly westwards. At the moment, maximum sustained winds are estimated at 60 miles per hour. On its present track, it's still expected to pass to the north of Barbados during the early hours of the morning, between 100 and 150 miles to the north of us. We will be getting some moderate to heavy showers, gusty winds as well, and isolated thunderstorms. But of course, the brunt of the activity will be occurring over these central islands where storm force conditions will be in effect. And of course, we'll be bringing you lots more details on this system, as well as others that are in and around the region when we take a closer look at the weather coming up later on in the evening news.
Thanks, Salma. We'll see you a little bit later. It seems Barbadians have been exercising greater responsibility this hurricane season. At least 3 establishments have reported Bajans were early with their preparation purchases, avoiding the usual last-minute rush ahead of the effects of Storm Isaac. Early preparation, coupled with the fact that Barbadians learned that Isaac had been downgraded from a hurricane to a tropical storm, were the reasons we didn't see the usual mad rush today. However, when we visited Carter's in Wildy around midday, we did find some people stocking up. Batteries were being restocked and there was no shortage of hurricane supplies, like these generators for instance. These 2 ladies were making sure they were prepared.
Lights and extra batteries, and I also have one of the big lights as well, along with food stuff, canned food stuff. Yes, not too much in the fridge. No, not too much, but enough, you know. Got buckets with water.
I can have 1 box, please, coffee.
Store attendant Casey Hepburn says the day got off to a good start.
The morning has been going quite fast with a lot of customers coming in, purchasing their goods there. Hurricane drums, their umbrellas, the lanterns, the lamp oil. What's not, they're coming in fast.
Over at Popular Discounts in Kendall Hill, the supermarket was packed with canned and dry foods. Assistant store manager Gaius Thomas says before the system was downgraded, customers were emptying the shelves.
Monday, you had very busy. Sunday was extremely busy. You had the people coming in buying all the canned stuff of the corned beef and the tunas, and plenty of water being selling by pallets and so on. So it has been that both Sunday and Monday, right?
So Barbadians have been early then?
Yeah, Barbadians have been very early this time around. I've really seen a very improvement in that, yeah, which is good.
Well, gas stations are usually a last-minute option for food supplies as well as a gas fill-up. And at this Rubis station, the manager who didn't want to appear on camera says they were bracing for that late rush.
Depending on what time the weather, we start to feel the effect, you will see the traffic start getting busy.
So are you well stocked and well prepared?
Very much so, always. Always prepared for a hurricane.
So this time of the year, do you have to increase your stock in terms of batteries and stuff?
Yes, we do. We increase our batteries and like biscuits and water, those essential things. Yes, every year.
Barbadians can expect to feel the strongest effects of Tropical Storm Isaac late tonight into early tomorrow morning. Well, it doesn't seem there's been any major fallout so far from the increased cost of accommodation in Barbados. Word of this from CEO of the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association, Senator Rudy Grant. Sharika Griffith has that story.
Addressing the BHTA's third quarterly general meeting, Senator Grant provided an update on some of the major developments in the tourism industry in recent months. One of them is the introduction of a nightly room levy for all hotels starting July 1st. He says there's been no major fallout since it came into effect.
The A-class category would be at 11 Barbados dollars, the B-class and apartments at 5 Barbados dollars, and the luxury class at 20 Barbados dollars. Based on the reports which we have received from our members, there have not been any major concerns with respect to the room levies.
Senator Grant is nonetheless hoping to engage government on several other issues. Among them is the plan for a 200% increase in VAT on accommodations when the levy is removed at the end of December 2019.
The proposal is that when the VAT on accommodation is increased from 7.5% to 15%, the levies will be removed. I have to say to you that we are still having some discussions with the Ministry of Finance, particularly with the Director of Finance and Economic Affairs with respect to this measure. And while it is still a policy of government, we hope to engage in further discussions to determine whether or not there could be some change in this regard.
He says members have also expressed concern about the new airport service charge, which takes effect on October 1st. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
7 new garbage trucks should be in Barbados within a month. Confirmation of this from Minister of the Environment and National Beautification, Trevor Prescott. He could not say how much they would cost, but added government was importing a D9 tractor.
First occasion, there was a little cloudy weather at that time. We had to examine what was happening carefully. We are in a fairly good position now, and I didn't want anything to occur. I didn't want anything to occur that would be interpreted in the wrong way, and we have to make a firm decision on that.
How many trucks are you talking about?
That we were bringing in 15.
Right, and you said
seven should be in sometime next month.
Minister Prescott was speaking to the media on the sidelines of an event to celebrate International Day of the Preservation of the Ozone Layer. Prior to that, the minister presented a number of awards to the Samuel Jackman Prescott Institute for Technology for its refrigeration and air conditioning diploma course. Julia Williams, Kent Bovell, and Rashay Brooks, students of that program, were awarded scholarships for outstanding work. Businesses which focus on refrigeration and air conditioning services were also acknowledged. Senior Environment Officer Ricardo Ward says Barbados is on its way to meeting its international targets to protect the ozone layer and cut down its carbon footprint. He says it's thanks to work being done in the SJPI's training programs and businesses specializing in that area.
The import level is significantly below what our domestic allocation is, so we are on target to achieve that. If we are under the 2020, we are significantly below the overall schedule to 2030. Right? When we, at the end of 2020, we will then renegotiate and develop new plans and so on to effect the phase down the further 65%.
There's still some level of concern about fire safety and prevention in one-door city establishments. The island's fire chief, Errol Maynard, says some businesses have sought to address this by implementing a number of mitigating factors in the event of a blaze. Following a blaze in Swan Street that gutted clothing store B Sharp, Mr. Maynard says the fire was easier to combat as it was night. The situation, he notes, would have been different if it was during the day.
If it was during the day, there would have been a lot of vendors and places that they should not have been. And therefore, that would have given us some challenge of getting the vendors out of the way, especially in the road area. But at the night, it was easier because the vehicles were able to get in and position themselves, as opposed to having to move vendors and then setting up the fire. So if we must say something about it, is that we need to look more carefully at where we allow vendors to set up their operations, especially in Swan Street.
Despite the increase in sixth form schools across the island, the Barbados Community College still remains a popular option for school leavers. Its registrar, Roger Worrell, made the disclosure at the college's 2018 convocation ceremony at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre. More from Rianne Phillips.
In the past decade, the number of sixth form schools in Barbados jumped from 4 to 11. However, the Barbados Community College still continues to receive over 3,000 applications per year.
The college receives over 3,000 applications every year, sometimes more. And we enroll 1,500. So for every person that got into BCC, there are a number of persons that did not. So I hope that you use the opportunity wisely for the 2, 3, or 4 years that you're at BCC.
And Acting Principal Dr. Cheryl Weeks is advising the new students to focus on their studies and to be mindful of their deportment.
What people see of you is what they take away. And you're going to be exposed to all kinds of people, all kinds of situations, which may determine how you develop and where you go at the end of your studies with us. Those who are going to be doing community service, this may be the opportunity for you to get your first job. So you need to make sure that you put your best foot forward at all times. The world is so complicated to find.
The convocation also included performances by current students in music and in song. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
The Barbados Water Authority has begun to trim its workforce. General Manager Keith Roy Halliday, in an exclusive CBC interview, revealed the BWA has not renewed the 6-month contracts of over 30 workers. He says it's the beginning of much-needed cost-cutting measures.
We are not in a position to hire any additional employees unless it serves a specific and necessary need. By the same token, we're not in a position to extend, rather gratuitously, any additional employment for those who were taken on a contractual and temporary basis to assist in areas where we no longer have such a need. As I would have indicated, we are reviewing the entire organization, and clearly we're going to have to make some changes. So it will really be responsible of us to continue to turn over or to extend contracts, which in the end we'll then have to revisit again.
Mr. Halliday stresses the changes do not affect any full-time members. He is saying, however, he did not rule out the possibility of such measures in the near future.
Unquestionably, the Barbados Authority have to make some hard decisions. Part of those hard decisions in terms of looking at the efficiency is determining whether or not our staffing is correctly aligned. That may mean some repositioning, that may mean some changes, but in any event, we will not do that in isolation. This is a discussion that we are currently engaging with our other stakeholders, the union particularly, and once we have advanced those discussions, we'll then be in a position to be able to say a little more exclusively where we stand.